Hi everyone, so it's time for air pollution part 2, and in this part we're going to look at some of the most common air pollutants that we find in the atmosphere. So let's get to it. So there are a wide range of other pollutants mankind merrily introduces into the atmosphere. One group of these is the sulfur oxides, SOx, where the X could be a number of oxygens. Sulfur dioxide, So2, is the most common. They're produced by factories and also by volcanoes and also anywhere where coal and petroleum are burned. Many of the things we burn include some kind of sulfur content. So SO2 can react in the presence of a catalyst like NO2 to form H2SO4, sulfuric acid, and this is what we know as acid rain. So here you can see we have our reactants including our catalyst NO2, and we have that together with SO2, sulfur dioxide, and H2O, water, and another little oxygen molecule, as well as some good old sunlight. We throw those together in a reaction and we get H2SO4 or sulfuric acid, and we also get our catalyst, nitrogen dioxide, back again. So you can imagine that it's not just one simple process, but perhaps a set of processes like with creating low-level ozone. But at the end of it, you have H2SO4 in the atmosphere, and this can cause various problems. One obvious effect of acid rain is the erosion of statues like the one you see here. However, acid falling from the sky, it's not going to be a good thing, is it? We've already been introduced to the nitrogen oxides, especially NO2, nitrogen dioxide. These are given out when you burn things at high temperatures. Nitrogen dioxide has a formula of NO2, and you can see this pollution as a brown haze above or near to cities. It's one of the most common air pollutants, and it's also important, as we've seen, in the process of forming many secondary pollutants as well. Carbon monoxide is another gas you may have heard of. It's colorless, odorless, and non-irritating, so it doesn't hurt to breathe it, but it's very poisonous. It's produced when fuels are burned inefficiently, which can happen in your home heater sometimes. All fuels are burned inefficiently to some extent. Vehicular exhaust is a major source. Vehicular is an adjective there, but the exhaust from vehicles like cars often contains carbon monoxide. Carbon dioxide, you've all heard of course, a greenhouse gas emitted by combustion reactions. It's a natural gas in the atmosphere, and it's also vital to many living organisms, plants for example. However, it's naturally at around 0.03% of the atmosphere, and mankind is working busily on increasing that amount. Another set of chemical compounds is volatile organic compounds. Now, organic compounds will be based on, or at least contain, the element carbon, and volatile organic compounds are often large organic molecules that are found in paints and other chemicals. They often have a strong smell. Some of these are produced naturally, and they are the smaller, more natural ones. However, we also produce more complex VOCs. They are powerful greenhouse gases, and they can also, by other processes, help to produce ozone and help methane stay in the air. Breathing these chemicals is often carcinogenic. Many of them will cause cancer. So here are some 2005 numbers on the sources of mankind's production of volatile organic compounds. Of course, this doesn't say anything about how much we produced, but just the overall balance between the different sources. Methane could be considered the smallest of the VOCs, but it is also a natural part of the atmosphere and it's used by many organisms. It's a greenhouse gas, however. It's 8 times as powerful as water vapor, and there you can see the molecule. It's produced by organisms, as we said. So another molecule that's produced by organisms is Ammonia Nh3. This is important in many botanical processes involving plants, and it's used in agriculture as well as in various types of medicine. It's in wide use, but it's a caustic and hazardous substance. Caustic means that it can burn other organic substances. And another thing about ammonia is it has a very pungent odor. So here's another very famous, or should I say infamous, type of chemical, the chlorofluorocarbons. They are organic chemicals. They are based on carbon, but they include fluorine and chlorine. And these were produced by aerosol cans and fridges, or I should say produced for aerosol cans and fridges, and they can drift into the atmosphere and last for a very long time, eventually reacting with ozone in the stratosphere, the ozone layer, and remove it from the atmosphere, making that hole in the ozone layer you will have heard about. Today it's illegal to use CFCs in many products, although they are still in some use. They are due to be phased out completely by 2030. Radioactive pollutants are one of the most harmful. Radioactive substances can be released into the air as particulates and gases. Not only can these be immediately harmful in all the ways we've seen, but they can also lead to radioactivity getting into the body, and as you may know, that is even more disastrous as it can blast apart your cells and cause massive damage and mutation. So radon gas is one kind of radioactive pollutant which is actually natural. Radium is found in the Earth's crust, and radon can be produced by the natural decay of it. However, there are obviously sources of man-made radioactive pollution as well. And the last group of pollutants we're going to talk about is the toxic metals. So many of the metals we use in industrial processes are poisonous, and if they are ingested or inhaled, they can lead to health problems. Some examples of metals that are dangerous in this way are lead, cadmium, and copper. And these toxic metals may cause health problems years later. Very often they bioaccumulate. In other words, they build up in the body, and once they are in the body, there is no process that the body has for getting rid of them. They build up over time. Eventually they cause health problems like interfering with brain function is one side effect of lead poisoning. And of course there's one other type of air pollution we need to consider: odors, otherwise known as smells. Odors are a type of air pollution. When you pass through an area that has a strong odor, it has an effect on you. Just ask someone who lives next to a pig farm. So that about wraps us up for air pollution. I hope you now have a better understanding of it than you did before. And as for me, I'll see you next time.